Alrighty traders, so today's date of doing this recording for you is on it's February the 13th, 2024, and I'm going to be giving you my projections, what I see happening on the S&P 500 and some other markets as well too. I'll be covering S&P 500, I'll be covering the Russell, and also I'll be covering gold as well too, where I see things happening over the next 12 months, possibly even extended for the next, say, 2 years, but what I see happening across all these markets. And the reason why I've titled this, the reason why I've put a date in this video, because you guys will be able to come back to this video and be able to see whether I got the calls right or what actually happened through there. So there's three big calls that I'm going to be making today. Again, S&P 500, the Russell, and then also the gold market as well too, where I ultimately see these things heading. And the timeline, guys, the timeline is I have a timeline of a maximum of the end of next year. So for the next 2 years, this is what I see is probably going to play out. I believe maybe the Russell could even happen this year. So let's actually start off with the S&P 500. What I see, this is the S&P 500 looking at the weekly charts. Let me bring up this chart here for a minute. I just want to bring up a chart with no moving averages at all. Let me just remove you. And let me bring up the weekly chart here. So the weekly chart, the one thing I really see happening on this chart here. In fact, let me just go back to this chart over here. So this is the weekly chart over here looking at the candlesticks. What I do see happening is that I do have a target. All right, I do have a target of 6,000 by the end of next year. Now, how I see that happening with the S&P 500 is, I believe we are likely to see at least a bit of a pullback first out of the markets. Okay, so my sort of projection is that we're likely to get a bit of a pullback first. I believe this is going to be a great buying opportunity, and then I believe we're probably likely to see this in the first half of this year, and then the second half of this year really up, and then all of next year a very big move to the upside around the 6,000. So for me personally, guys, I'm ready for this because I believe it's going to be an incredible buying opportunity for the market. So the S&P 500, I just see a bit of a dip for the first half of this year, 2024. And then the second half of this year, I see a nice move up. And then especially coming into next year, I see an incredible move up. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but I do see really big moves coming, especially in 2025. And then 2026, guys, I see a massive recession coming. Massive recession. But that's just my sort of projections. I could be wrong here. So that's the S&P 500. Now, let's go have a look at the good old Russell market. So this is the Russell market for me. Let me bring up the daily charts from here. This is the Russell market, and we've pretty much just been going sideways, right? Not really much going on here, just pretty much just sideways flat between 200 and 160. I am making a call that we are likely to hit. I have a target of 300. I have a target of 300, which is what? Which is a rise of, say, 50%, around 300. And I believe that could even happen this year. A maximum of what I believe we're likely to hit 300 by the end of next year. And the reason why I say by the end of next year, guys, the reason why I say that is because it could happen this year. It could happen in February next year. You know what I mean? So like if I'm looking at a timeline within, say, now through the end of next year, through December 2025, I look back and that would have happened. It's not like we're going to get there in December 2025. Make sense? So I say within the next, say, 2 years, I do see this thing having incredible. I think the Russell is the sleeping giant right now. And I believe the Russell is likely to see an incredible move because no one has been talking about the Russell. No one. That's the unloved child, right? So I believe the Russell is likely to have a big move, even though the S&P 500 and the Dow and the Nasdaq could be getting a very strong pullback, say 10% pullback. I believe we could be getting ready to have a very nice move on the upside. So that's my target there, guys. Again, maximum of end of next year, but we could even see this year. We could even see this thing rally back up if anything happens like it did through the whole COVID situation. Then from that point there to that point there, you can see that there was 1 year worth of movement. and that was what, 128% move. Now I don't believe we're going to see that, but I'm calling for at least a 50% move to the upside. And again, somewhere within the next couple of years, that's where I see that happening. But again, the way that this Russell's setting up, we could even hit that at the end of this year. Now, there's no guarantees of that. Again, and that's the reason why if I'm looking at a conservative by December next year, if we look back, I believe we would have hit that from there. So that's my target for the Russell over the next 1 to say 2 years of that. I'm very, very bullish for the next couple of years on all markets through here, guys. And last but not least, on the gold market, I believe gold could be shaping up real strong here. And I really do see that gold could be getting ready. And I have a first target of 2,500, but ultimately I have a 3,000 target on gold. And I believe we could be getting ready to have that shift right very soon, right? We could be getting ready for that shift. And then I believe gold is going to go absolutely tear to the upside. I really do see. And again, guys, on a timeline basis, the conservative approach is for the next 2 years, right? The next 2 years. And the reason why I say that, guys, is once again, I don't know, gold could actually start to break out and we go for an incredible move. I do see that we're likely to get at least to the 2,500 this year on gold, but this thing could really start to ramp up and we could start to see gold having a very big move. So my target projections on the S&P 500 is 6,000. Russell IWM at 300 or 3,000 for the actual Russell futures, and then for the actual Russell itself, and then also gold I have a 3,000 target. Again, guys, this could all happen this year. I doubt it, especially for the S&P 500 for the 6,000. That could all happen this year. But if I'm looking at a conservative timeline, I do see all this happening. Again, there's no guarantees of this happening, right, guys? So don't go and place a trade based on what I'm talking about here. But I do see, again, I have a timeline for the next 2 years. And again, guys, I'm going to repeat myself here. The reason why I'm saying the next say 2 years by the end of next year is because it gives me time. It gives me time for this to play out. Then 2026, I see a big recession, but I don't know. Gold could hit 3,000 in June this year, right? I doubt that, right? But it could. I just don't know when these things are going to happen. But that's the reason why, if I'm looking at a timeline within the next say 2 years, I see all this starting to play out in the markets from here. So I hope this helps you out there today, traders. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. But these are my target projections, and I'm doing this video right now today is so people can come back and basically say crap about me, or they can say, you know what, John, you actually called this. And so that's the reason why I'm happy to do this in public, even put the date on this video as well too. So let me know what you guys think.